but I gotta remember. See now.
Okay, those are the technicalities. You pick up, you learn. It
Yeah, no,
happens.
exactly.
When I was doing a podcast back when, we had recorded a session with someone, and it was an amazing interview, and then it went into the interverse.
Oh no, exactly. It's like no.
We had to do it again, but they were cool about it. So I'm trying to find your live.
Okay. If you go to okay. So I still haven't streamed it. Let me
Okay,
just come
let
on.
me grab a libro too, so I have it for reference.
Yeah.
Always.
All right. So I think we're good. You let
Okay.
me know when you let me know when you're ready.
All right. I am going to go to your page now. And why are you not? What? Oh, this is groups. We're definitely not looking for you in groups.
Oh no, just go to the main page
Yeah.
and then like down to the news feed and you should see it. I still haven't clicked go live, but you let me know once you
I'm
get to
ready.
that page.
Go. I'm on your page.
Okay. All right, let's make sure that it's up. I give it a little refresh.
You are live.
All right. Okay.
Hey.
Let's do it. All right, so let me go back here. And we are live streaming. All right. Holla! Ladies and gentlemen, people of the world, the Community Spotlight Project is back. Thanks to my friend Eddie Pabon. Now, let me tell y'all a little something about the Community Spotlight Project. It was something that came out of COVID, obviously, being in quarantine and just being, in your thoughts and just thinking, about how just so many things, the world's going to change and, just thinking about what you're going to do with your life. And part of what I love to do is to give back and to share people's stories because I know wholeheartedly that by someone like Eddie sharing his story, that other people can learn from that. And so that's basically what the Community Spotlight Project is. It's an opportunity for people to really to get to know how they too can be inspired just by following somebody else's example. And if they're going through like their trials and tribulations in life, it's okay. It's always
Yep.
going to be okay.
That's
right?
right. Yep.
So yes, so without any further ado, my special guest for tonight is Eddie Pabon. Very inspiring figure in the community and someone who I have gotten to know, but not well enough. So that's why we are all here tonight, because I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, wow, not only is this a good opportunity for everybody to get to know you, Eddie, but it is also going to be a great opportunity for me to get to know you a little deeper. And so without any further ado, if you would like to give a little introduction about who you are and where you're from.
Sure, thank you. First off, I want to say thank you for having me on, because we have crossed paths many times, and we wanted to do this sooner. And like you, I've been, in the whole, well, like most people, like everybody, we've been in this whole COVID-19 thing, and I wanted to do something for the community as well. I mean, I already do a few things for the community, but I'm glad that you're doing this. This is needed, so I'm proud of you. Keep it up, and thank you for having me on. It's an honor to be here. I am Eddie Pabon, everybody. I'm from the Bronx. I'm Puerto Rican. I am a mindfulness meditation coach, author of a memoir, and I think I'll stop there. I have a couple other titles, but we're just gonna focus on we'll focus on the coaching, the mindfulness meditation, and my book is what I'd like to talk to you all about today.
Okay, all right. And so you say you're from the Boogie Down Bronx?
I am. That's right.
Yeah, Boricua. Very good. So wait, you grew up in the Bronx all your life, and you've been in New York all your life?
Well, I've been predominantly in New York most of my life. I've lived in several other states, and rough guesstimate number, about 70 places of roughly.
About what?
70 something places in my life.
70 something places? What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I was a drifter. But I've always come back to New York. So like, California, New York, Puerto Rico, New York, Jersey, New York, Connecticut, New York, Pennsylvania. Always tried other places, but never here. And a lot of the places I lived were during my childhood, which I detail in my book. And we could talk about a little bit later. But yeah, no boogie down. That's where I'm at now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So Eddie, so I guess if we could dive a little bit into it, where would you say that your story begins? Because I know a little bit. I know a little bit from your book and from from what you've shared, in public. But where would you say your story begins?
Ooh, that's a good one. So
okay.
You gotta
so
work
like,
with the question.
I know. I'm sorry. I know that was a big one. Okay. So
so there's I have a two-pronged answer. My initial response is I think my life is beginning now. Right?
I love that. I love that. Mm-hmm.
I truly believe that although this is the story that I wrote, The Sunrise in December, which details my upbringing from birth, or from my first memory, is how the book sort of starts, up until about 27 years old, and I'm 36 now. So I have another one I'm writing. I'm actually writing two more, but so the political answer is my story starts with my first memory, right? And that is of my father pistol whipping my mother. It's available on Amazon, free for everyone to read the first few pages. Unfortunately, that was my first experience in life. And this book details lots of trauma, but now where I am, which is why I wrote this, really to show people the contrast, the level of difference from where I come from and where I am, is not only unique and powerful, but I think it's something to be said, because a lot of us feel like we go through things alone, and we're not alone. So I am living now, honey, today, moving forward every day.
Yes. Well, I commend you for that, for sharing, not only that very heart-wrenching story of that first image that, that you can remember vividly, and that you describe in your book, but it's also so crazy to say what you said initially, just like out of like a natural reaction, like your life is starting now, because it's almost like sometimes you have to go through all those like things in your past to like figure out like, wow, no, this is living because I've learned from all those experiences. And you said, so you're 36-year-old man.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I'm getting old.
Well, I can definitely relate to you, because I actually, believe it or not, I actually think that my life is starting to really start now, finally, after all these years. So Eddie, I mean, what are some of the lessons that I guess, if you want to dig a little bit deeper into some of those images, of your mother getting pistol whipped and growing up?
It's no secret. It's absolutely. Just to give you a sort of a brief overview, I'm the oldest of a sibling family of 7. Mm-hmm. My dad and my mom, when I was born, not only obviously was it a domestic violence relationship that they were in, but my father was also the kingpin of a huge drug ring that was making something along the lines of $350,000 a week in crack cocaine sales in the early 90s, according to the New York Times and America's Most Wanted. And so when that broke the news, and my mom and my dad were teenagers. They were doing their best that they could with the shit show that they were handed themselves. But, we went through the witness protection program. We were fearful for our lives. Most of my childhood, I was sort of running in my mind from these people who were trying to kill us. That was kind of how I was raised. And so that was why we were shifted around so many states throughout my childhood, and why I've lived in so many places. Every time we got comfortable somewhere, the witness protection program was like, you're no longer safe here. It's time to move here. And so we were moved around a lot. Went through foster care for many years, group homes, foster homes, which I detail. I talk about, what it was like being a bisexual male at the time. I'm totally gay now, but having experiences with women and men, and there's so much depth in there in terms of like, it's not just a story about what I went through, but it's how I felt. I take you into the heart and soul of Eddie the boy, Eddie the teen, and ultimately Eddie the man. Diane Sawyer was involved, so there's a little snippet in there, and there's quite a few other layers of things that are mentioned. These are just little bullets, but ultimately the whole point of writing this was just to show people that if I could get through this shit, you're going through a breakup, you're gonna be okay. You lost someone, guess what? tons of loss in here. You're going to be okay, right? So no matter, and it's not to minimize what people are going through, because you're entitled to experience your loss. But some people, I think most people get so wallowed up in their trauma, their challenges, that they don't see the light. Some people get stuck. You know, I know people who've been drinking because they lost someone 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, just 20 years later, the trauma is still like if it was yesterday for them, and they haven't woken up out of that trance. So I'm here to lay down the hammer and to remind you, anybody, not you necessarily, or maybe you, right? I don't know what your challenges are, but no matter what the challenge is, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep on going, because there's so much opportunity out there to live and to be happy. And you know, I mean, I see your posts all the time, Jomil. I'm always laughing. You have such a bright energy and such a full of life sort of feeling that at least you exude through the tube, right? Through Facebook, Instagram. And I've seen you in person, and you have that brillo, that you have that brightness, like sort of like light, I call it, right? I'm always saying light and love. And you have so much of that emanates from within you. So, you know, I want to teach people how to live the life that you're living. That I'm living.
All right,
okay.
Thank you, Papi. Thank you so much. And so you know what, Eddie? It's crazy, and I'm happy that you're hitting this particular subject, because I think at least you know, you're in my age group. You know, I'm 35. You're 36. I'm 35. But like a lot of us, for the first time in history, are going through such a sense of loss. I'm talking like family members have died because of COVID. People have lost their jobs. You know, and so you know, you're talking about how can people pick themselves up. But you know, what are some of the tools that you think that you've learned along the way that you can, you know, I guess pass on over to other people?
So this is why, well, you know, the first thing I'm going to say is give yourself some credit, right? Absolutely, definitely pat yourself on the back for having lived through the shit, whatever that is for you, right? Give yourself some credit for that, and know that it is not your fault, whatever it was, or maybe it might have been your fault at that time, but in this moment, it's time for you to get past that, right? And that takes practice. So I always tell people to practice. It's my little acronym that I carry around that I'm so proud of. And it stands for patiently repeating altruistic challenges to inspire core excellence, right?
Wow, I like that.
You practice, you be patient, you repeat the challenge. Know that it's an altruistic challenge. It's not a challenge that's specific to you. It is a challenge. It may feel like you're alone. You may feel like, you know, nobody understands me, but the reality is that there's so many other people in the world going through the same situation, just a different background, different age, different race, different size, whatever, right? And then know that the challenge is going to inspire core excellence if you can overcome it, right? Because there's always light at the end of the tunnel, baby. And meditation, I think tools. So this is my big thing now. And I know when I used to be fearful of saying meditation. You hear me say mindfulness a lot, right? But that's other people's stuff, because meditation, I know for me, speaking from my old stuff, when I heard meditation, I thought, I'm going to be real, that's for white people. We don't do that. Like, at least that's how I was raised. You know, I'm Latino. We don't do that. You just man up. You know, that's what I say. You deal with it. Like, get over it. And that's it. And I learned about meditation, and I practiced it about 10 years ago. And I loved it. It made me feel like, I'll be honest with you, you know, I don't know if anybody who's ever smoked weed or whatever, but it made me feel like I smoked a shitload of weed without using any drugs. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I got out of this meditation, and I'm like, oh my God, I feel so relaxed. I feel so at ease. I feel so calm. And then I just started chasing that more. And what I found was, not only am I healthier, not only am I more focused, not only am I more concentrated, I'm like a fucking machine now. I can't turn it off. And I'm going, and I'm achieving things that I never thought were capable for myself. And I'm so much more centered in how I approach problems and challenges, right? This is the key right here. Meditation is the key to life, okay? There's a reason why people were practicing it before Jesus even came around. It's because it works. It has not only health benefits, but meditation is the tool that will prepare you to not react to problems and not have things happening to you, but more like you're driving the car. Like, okay, I lost something. that makes me feel sad. You cry, you feel the feelings, and then you move on. You let it flow through you. You give yourself the chance to feel it, but you don't get involved in it, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and I'm talking about loss, but it gets to a point, I'm telling you, 10 years later now, where you can read energy, where you can actually see someone's sadness on them, or you see your own shit coming up, where you go, oh my God, I would have totally like cracked somebody 10 years ago for that, and now I'm like, let them live. You know, you
Yeah.
stop trying to control things, and you stop reacting to things, and you sort of start to manifest and be the driver of the car of your life. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the tool that I want to talk about today, is mindfulness meditation, and how important that is for everyone.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And so we got to keep on going with this, because you're hitting the core of what I think the whole purpose of this is, right? And it's like, you know, how do you, I said how to use the tools, but it's how do you get to a place within your own mind, right? Because that's what it always takes. What does, you read it in books, you see it in movies, you hear it from those most wise, you hear from your grandmom, abuelita, you know, ay pues niño, pues, you know, you hear like these old adages and these old refranes, right? But they all have a reason, and it's because everyone knows at the end that it's like you have to just, you know, train yourself. You have to train your
It's
own self.
training of the mind, absolutely, and that's why it takes practice, right?
Mhm.
That's what I was saying. Practice is important. You know, mindfulness practice is something people think you have to do every day. Although the more severe trauma, like in my case, right, the more I would recommend, yes, try to do it every day, baby, because you got some shit to work on. But you know, you can do it in as little as 5 to 10 minutes,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things where, like, I used to go to work, and when I would get stressed out, I'd go on break and get in a little broom closet, sit down on a chair and meditate, and come back to work brand new. People would be like, look at, like, you know, I thought my shit didn't stink or whatever, and I'm like, you should try it, bitch. You stressed out, you should go try it.
Yep. Yeah, it's the
But
truth. It's the truth.
it's training the mind, absolutely, definitely.
Yeah.
And there's many ways to do that. It's not
Yeah.
just you know, stilling yourself and
Mm-hmm.
quote unquote turning off the mind. That's a big misnomer. A lot of people think
Mm.
meditation is about, and that, I think, is the number one reason that people are put off by the idea of meditating, because they try and they're not, and it's practice, it's their first time, your mind is busy. We are trained to be distracted, right?
Yeah.
We're in
Yeah.
a world of consumption, and you scroll to the next idea, the next idea, the next idea, the next idea. This is a newfound concept. It's a newfound hive consciousness, right? Our society is consuming so much data and information, and that creates distraction. And you have to really train yourself to put the time in the same way you put in the time to post and, you know, eat and all those other things, to center your mind. Once you center your mind, everything else follows: body, physical, you know, emotions, things like that.
Yes, yes. And so, Eddie, I think so much of what you're saying, I'm sure that so many people watching can relate to it. So many people are saying, oh my God, yes, that is me. Oh my God, yes, I feel you, or I've been there, I've done that. And that's why, hey, y'all out there, if you like what you're hearing, definitely drop some comments. And so, Eddie, you talk about this, a lot about this in your book.
I'm
What
sorry.
exactly, you talk about this in your book, right?
I don't talk about meditation in the book. Actually, that's why I'm writing two more. So I talk
Oh,
about
okay.
everything that I went through, and this is really sort of like a conversation starter for me. I think
Okay.
what I didn't mention is that I'm also a licensed substance abuse counselor, and I did that I've been doing it still part-time, independently, for about 15 years.
Oh, wow.
And you know, in counseling, you're not allowed to really disclose your own stuff. You're really not there for you. You're there
Mhm,
for the
mhm.
patient, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so you sort of just listen to the problems that they're presenting, and I can almost immediately see the solutions right away, because we always have the solutions for everyone else, right? We don't really ever have them for ourselves, but we always know how to fix other people's shit. But you can't talk about it. You
Mhm.
can't mention it. It's frowned upon for you to disclose any information about yourself. And so this allows me to take that out of the way, utilize the skills that I have in counseling, right? And help people to talk about their stuff and then be relatable, right? I think when I come in and I lay all this shit on the table, now that I've got your attention, that
Mhm.
shit you were stressing earlier, it's not that deep. Think about it. You know what I mean? Maybe you should go home and give your partner a hug. Maybe that argument over the dishes or whatever isn't that serious, right? Maybe you should not sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff. So yeah, I don't talk about meditation and mindfulness here. I just talk about, this is a pure memoir here.
Okay.
But I'm writing a follow-up to it because everyone who has read it, and I mean that, I don't know anybody, at least they haven't told me anyway, anybody who has read it and not liked it. It has 5-star reviews across the board. I'm so proud of that. I never expected that. Over 100 of them. And the next ones will be a follow-up to this because people want to know what happened to me, what happened to my brothers and sisters, what's going on. And then Wise Human Practice is actually the name of the tool book that I want to give, which is basically every little golden nugget that Eddie Pabon has ever been given in his life put into the book. Meditation, mantras, I mean, everything down to even oils that you can use, you know, to affect your moods, things like that. But just tools for everybody. And one size doesn't fit all. You know, maybe you might not be able to sit still because you can't close your eyes and focus. You might have some sort of trauma that doesn't allow you to close your eyes. Well, let's do some mantra meditation and speak words positively about yourself into the universe, and do that for 15 minutes until it sticks, right?
Exactly.
And then, you know, there's hikes. I've been doing nature hikes lately, which are really exciting, connecting with nature and having folks meditate out in nature. So I will be doing a tool book, but for right now, while that's being written, I'm sort of just available to the community, doing videos on YouTube. I have also, which I would like to share, launched during COVID, like the community spotlight, you better get it, Leche We Are, which is lecheweare.com, is a collective consciousness repository for everything mindfulness. And what that means is, first, let me define leche, because a lot of people are like, whoa, leche, and then, you know, I'm running around with leche on my chest looking like, you know, I'm about to squirt everywhere, but that's not what it's about. That's not what it's about. Leche stands for love, energy, community, healing, and empowerment. And we are Leche, right? All of us are. So the idea is practice to get to Leche. And I started the website because I want to make it available to individuals who seek mindfulness, who are seeking tools, who are sick and tired of being sick and tired, who want to do the work for themselves and want to communicate and involve themselves with other individuals on the topic, right? So you can join for free. It is free $99, y'all. That's, it's like, come on, you have to join. And what I do to incentivize even further is, if you join the community, I offer you a free entry into a giveaway every single month. You do nothing else. You join the community and you create your profile. You have the opportunity to engage with other people in the forums, participate in our events, which are coming soon, aside from these mindfulness hikes we've been doing. And every month I give away a Leche item. There's a bunch of Leche swag. We have tank tops, we have hats, we have socks, we have, you know, everything Leche. I've got a Bing bag back here, chair, and pillows. And there's Leche for everybody, right? But the idea is, and if you notice in the Leche, there's a meditating man in here. The logo is a meditating man, right?
Oh, wow.
If you switch the perspective.
I never realized that. Look at that.
Like when you empower yourself to heal, right? And you become part of the community, then you plug into the love energy, right? So shifting consciousness. So definitely join lecheweare.com. If you haven't already, Jomil, you need to join too. Okay.
Yes. Well, okay. So again, so, you know, going back to like what I had to mention in the beginning, this is giving me an opportunity to get to know you on a deeper level and to just hear more about all these things that I know I've seen and I've heard about, pero, you know, because of the distractions of every day, you sometimes you're like,
I know half the people that see my posts are like, oh, this child again with another post.
No, but not even. Okay, so check it out. I'm gonna ask you like a real, like, I'm gonna throw it out there as like a real honest question. What would you tell someone who, you know, is listening to us right now and is saying like, pero, you know, like you said, like sometimes as Latinos and Black people, you know, we say, oh, well, what's this mindfulness, mental health? I ain't crazy. I don't got time for that. I gotta man up, blah, blah, blah. Just like you were saying, what would you tell them in terms of like how to even start to step foot into something like Leche, or how to even step foot into the concept of mindfulness?
So mindfulness is everything. It's driving the car, right? Your subconscious behaviors is your behaviors, right? But they're subconscious. So here's the trick, right? Mindfulness is about retraining that negative subconscious mind that isn't serving you, right? So if for everyone who's going through anything, I say this is for you, because you want to overcome a challenge, right? Try it. And the thing is that there's yoga, right? There's physical, there's mantra, like I was saying, there's mindfulness breathing, right? You can do visualization techniques. You can have someone like me guide you on a meditation, right? You don't even know, you have to know how to do it as a beginner. You can just seek the information. Like on Leche We Are, I made a YouTube video of a guided meditation for individuals who maybe can't afford to come on a hike, right? I come from poverty.com, so I know what it's like to not have money, to want to access things, but not have the money and the resources, right? So I try as much as possible with anything that I do to make it affordable and to make it accessible to my community, right? Because I want my people to rise with me, right? The sun is not the only one trying to rise in December. We all trying to get to this thing called life. So to those people, I say, do your research. Get in contact with me. Ask me questions if you want. I love talking about it, you know? But there are resources on the website that are designed for you to not have to have contact with anyone if you don't want. You can just go and click on the videos. You don't even have to do my videos. You don't even have to join Let's Say We Are. You can go to YouTube and find something about mindfulness meditation and study the subject. Follow the instructions. When I did my first guided meditation, I was like, this shit is not working. You know, I close my eyes and I'm fuck. I can't turn off my thoughts. And then the guy says, don't worry about distractions. Just get back to your breath. It's okay. It's perfectly normal for your mind to become distracted. Oh shit, I am doing it right. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
our stuff, that stuff that's causing the problems, that's making us want meditation, is the stuff that's gonna come up when we go seek the meditation, right? Our mind and body is always trying to protect us, and whenever and for some of us, our problems are our safe zone. We have become so accustomed to reciting them, to living them, and to being helpless to them, that the mindset is that you just can't overcome it. It is what it is, and my life sucks, and I'm just so depressed, right? And so those are the things that you're going to change when you start practicing. So I'll explain a little bit deeper. And I say this all the time, this is free information. The first 7 years of your life are programming, right? You're Jomil, little Eddie, which is running around, mommy, daddy, okay, mommy's name is Michelle, daddy's name is Tick, daddy's a drug dealer, okay, my dad's a drug dealer, right? So, but the idea is we're just absorbing. We don't know what even our names are. We have to learn that, right? And we're taught a lot of negative limiting beliefs. How many Latin parents, I'm speaking just for Latinos, but I'm sure this is just parents in general. How many parents are like, mira, cuidado, you know, don't go there, be careful every time you leave the house, cuídate por ahí, you know, and it's a good intention, but what it does is it tells you, be careful, just be careful. Don't do too much having fun. Don't be too adventurous because you're going to get hurt. You know what I mean? And that transfers into how you think. And so when we come from poverty mindsets, when we come from limited thinking backgrounds, we come from parents who just got by and worked that job that they hated because you have to work, right? It don't matter if you don't like the job. You need to get a job, and you can't be a bum, right? So we copy those behaviors. We have them installed into us like a program on a computer, right? But the good news is that mindfulness meditation hacks that shit. And every time you practice speaking positively about yourself or tuning into those things and noticing them, then you start to see that the noise that's not serving you really doesn't serve you. So what's the point of entertaining that noise? You understand what I'm saying? So now what happens for me, I'll give you an example of this. You know, you're not good enough. You're too stupid. You're too fat. You're too ugly.
Things that a lot of parents say. Yeah.
Well, I used to think this shit about myself because this is what I was told from my abuser. My stepfather really, really programmed that I was gonna be nothing but a fat piece of shit that was a fucking faggot. And you know, these are things that I'm just keeping it real. This is what was said to me. So those tapes played every time I ever went to go and believe in myself, right? Mindfulness now checks those tapes. You can't do this. Yes, I can. You understand? It's that simple. Nowadays, it's like, oh, look, Ed, and I don't say this out loud, but I think it literally like, oh shit, you still have limited thinking sometimes. You still get anxiety. Like, for example, and this is a small, it doesn't cure everything. I want to be clear. The work takes work and it takes time. But what it does do is it gives you so much more of an advantage. 2 years ago, before I launched the book, every time somebody told me they would interview me for that week, that month, that year, even if we booked a year in advance, like, I want you to do a speak next year, I'd be for the whole time like, what if they all laugh at me? What if I freeze? What if I don't say the right things? And every single time I showed up anyway, because that mindful mind, because you have to, Ed, this is don't just go with it. And if you fall, you fall, but you'll learn, right? That's the difference. And every single time I didn't fall. And every single time it was a success. And now the anxiety will come up, like this interview now we're having, right? For example, it will come up because I'm human, right? And your interview's in 10 minutes. Mind you, I didn't think about it all day. I got the alarm because I've learned to turn that anxiety off that used to lead me up to the days. And then when the alarm came on, that little bit of voice of anxiety started to pop up. And as soon as it started to pop up, it was like, what are you doing? Like, this is a great interview. It's Jomil. Like, chill. All right, on to the interview. Later, anxiety, gone. You know what I'm saying? So
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I love
I see
it.
some comments here.
Okay, yeah. Well, Eddie, I just want to say you are giving the people of the world a masterclass. Let me tell you that I am, just like I know that you're speaking to everyone else, you're really doing a number on me, and I love listening to you because I can hear your passion about, you truly believe what you're preaching, and that's what I think you exude it. And I think that that's why you have overcome so many obstacles in your life. And I hope people are paying attention. Okay.
Practice, baby. Thank you. I appreciate that. Authenticity is very important to me, and one of the things that I've learned is that you can't change anybody but yourself, and you surely can't preach if you ain't practicing, right? And so, meditation is interesting because when you try to talk to people about meditation, folks are like, yeah, okay, leave it alone. I don't want to do that shit, right? Or whatever, and it brings up stuff for me to talk about. I used to be a little bit uncomfortable, and the reason why I'm so passionate about it is because it truly fucking works. Hands down, I will go toe-to-toe with anybody. Tell me how it doesn't. Because, every time I test it for myself, that I'm personally like, I have bad moments. I call it my 2% moments. 98% of the time, I'm happy now, which is in contrast to what I used to be. It used to be the flip. I used to be 95% of the time depressed, anxious, frustrated, helpless, right? And now I have these 2% moments where I'm like, I'm being impatient, or I want something to go the right way, or my family frustrates me, or whatever. And then it's just like, it's gone. I go on, I meditate, and I'll finish the meditation, and I get out of the meditation. As soon as I open my eyes, I'm like, fucking love this shit. What problems? You know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta keep doing this. Like, I don't know what drives me, but my like, I have this inner force that's like, the world needs this, especially now. We have a fear, right? Everybody's totally fucking fearful right now, and we're not thinking straight as a result. And the reason why is because we are reacting to the fear instead of noticing the fear. Do you understand?
Totally agree.
When you notice it, you have the choice to dance it, right? Do you want to be fearful, Jomil? Because fear is a protection thing. Are you truly in danger right now in this moment? Is there a bear coming at you, right? And I say that because I use the analogy of the bear. Our fight or flight systems, right, are connected to fear and anxiety and fighting and anger and frustration, right? So our systems, we are confronted with danger, which is good. We're wired for prehistorical shit, like, caveman days, when an animal was coming, you had to, you got your body started producing more oxygen, your blood starts flowing more clearly, you get more clarity, and your heart is pumping, and it's like fight or flight, right? And that was to protect your life. Nowadays, we're getting fight or flight activation off of delusion, off of he say, she say, off of a post, off of somebody saying the wrong thing. You just got so much shit going on that one thing tipped you, and now you're fighting someone in the middle of the street. taking out all that stuff on them when it has nothing to do with them. You did what they said to you, what they did to you, how they offended you has nothing to do with how you're reacting to it. Right? So we got to remove fear from the equation, because when you're fearful, you don't think straight. You think fight or flight.
Exactly. Exactly. At the end of the day, we got to think like human beings are animals, and we have this response system, and it's the truth. And so, like, I agree with you. Nowadays, it's almost like, we see the bullying online, and we see all these little things that, like, even the news can be a trigger, right? But we need to wake up a little bit and just be like, hey, look, there's a way around this. You know what I mean? Don't let this be the end all be all of the current situation.
Not something else to consider, because this to me is the most alarming thing, and I want to be clear on this. And evidence-based practices, this is both backed by science and just the reality. I'm sure you've heard of the placebo effect, because you work in pharmaceuticals as well, right? And you know that there are psychologically, if you give someone a water pill and you tell them that they're going to lose weight because it's the best fat burning pill ever existed, excuse me, then they might lose weight, right? There are studies that have been done where people were given empty pills and told that there was this miracle drug in there and they were cured, or they lost weight, or whatever the issue was removed. And that's because whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you are right. I want to emphasize this. If you believe that someone is being shady to you, or you believe that the world is against you, or you believe that you cannot do that thing that's going to take you to the next level, then you're right, because your belief is driving the car. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand.
So when you switch the switch, then things start to happen. So now if you believe that your little itchy throat, excuse me, now I'm coughing, right? Perfect time. If you believe that your little itchy throat is COVID-19, you may start to manifest symptoms of difficulty of breathing. You may start to manifest psychological and physiological things that resemble this thing that you don't have. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's like the mind over matter sometimes can create these thoughts, and then it's true, you will start to manifest physical symptoms, because that's what the mind can do. You start to think it enough.
If you smoke cigarettes to cope, or if you drink alcohol to cope, right? Now you're smoking a packet. You're smoking cigarette after cigarette.
Yep.
Because, oh my God, everybody's dying out there. Oh my God, I'm going to die. I got news for you, baby. You're going to die anyway one day. We're all going to die one day. So why would you choose, and I'm not saying that to be, morbid, I'm saying that to be realistic. Why would you choose to entertain fear when there's no reason to be fearful in this moment? You and I are home. Folks that are watching are on their cell phones, on Facebook, on their computer, on their laptop, on their tablet, whatever, but they are safe from imminent danger and this moment. So bask in that, celebrate it, have gratitude for it, because there are people who are actually facing COVID right now with it. You understand what I'm saying?
It's the truth. It's the truth. Ay, bendito. So mira, Eddie, let me see. Some people have said, he said meditation, once you center your mind, everything else will follow. Of course, so people are in agreement. First 7 years of one's life is programming. I never necessarily knew that. So Eddie, let me tell you, man, I gotta give it to you, because you are a man that you have so much knowledge. And I commend you for that. I look up to you in terms of, somebody who has obviously read and studied and kind of like like you said earlier, you got to put the work in. You can't just expect everything to fall on your lap sometimes, You
have so much power. There's so much power in educating yourself. And when you know, then you know, and guess what? Then there's no more excuses after that.
Yep.
Then you face yourself. Somebody said to me, I'll give you another example, because I lived all this stuff. So I'm not just preaching. You know what I'm saying? I'm a living example. This book, Diane Sawyer told me she was going to help me publish this book. She didn't. And I want to be clear. I love her to death. She's a great support. For whatever reason, she chose just to not answer the call. She kept promising me she was going to help me publish. So in my mind, I'm like, yo, I got Diane Sawyer, I got ABC. I'm gonna be all over the, Good Morning America, all these things. Like, my book is gonna be a bestseller. And then she never answered the call, right? And so I put the book down. I started La Leche del Arte, my photography entity, and I started shooting photography. And I said to myself, I'm very spiritual. So I said to myself, if this is meant to be, it will be. She'll call me back. But I'm not gonna go and self-publish. At that time, that was my mindset. I'm not gonna go and self-publish when I got Diane Sawyer in my bag. You know, like she's behind me. She got me. So in quotes, and I'm quoting her, this is very powerful and will inspire millions of people. I want to make sure that this gets done, and I want to make sure it gets done right, so that it can have the most impact. So when you have this woman say that to you at ABC Studios on 60-something Street, okay, coming from where I come from, you were like, girl, you know, like, you start living. And then the phone doesn't ring. And then a year turns into 4 years. And then you start your photography entity thinking you're not good enough to be a writer, and that's probably why she doesn't call you back, right? And then you're doing a wedding in Central Park, and somebody taps you on the shoulder, the universe, and says, hi, I would like your card. I would like to book you for a photo consult. Okay. We meet 2 weeks later. This woman has 2 best-selling books, and she wants to write 6 more, and she'd like to photo consult me for her books.
Wow.
I told her I have a manuscript. We wound up talking about my manuscript and how she wanted to hear. She asked me for some bullets. I sent her the manuscript, and I told her, you know, it's a little rough around the edges. I'm warning you. She called me 2 weeks later and said, I want to help you publish. This is the most powerful story I've ever read. I've been through 100 countries, and I've never met anybody who has suffered as much as you. And that's a lot. I've been to third world countries. So for me, I'm like, damn. All right, well, maybe I did go through some shit. You know, that stuff is back there. I don't harp on that. You know, I just sort of use this as a tool to educate people. But somebody said to me, the point to all this is, when she tapped me on the shoulder, I got the fire back under my ass, and I started to go through the process again of getting ready to publish. And then right before I published, I was having those same anxieties, and somebody random said to me, why do you keep holding yourself back? And I just, all the mindfulness in the world, and I didn't have that insight. I was holding myself back. Yep. I had every reason why I wasn't good enough, every reason why I couldn't listed. The reasons why I could were just 2 people, right? So when she said that, and I don't know what the fuck happened, I just started crying. Like, I became emotional. She triggered something in me, but she hit a truth that I wasn't aware of. And so I had to. That was it. After that, now that you know, you can't have that excuse anymore. You can't hold yourself back anymore. Now it's no longer Diane Sawyer. Now it's no longer not the right time. It's not, you know, go for it and see what happens. And look, 5 stars, over 100 of them. Who the fuck would have knew?
Exactly,
you know?
exactly. You know, and so again, you know, I mean, so you're talking about some of the life lessons that you've learned, right? And I think what you're touching on now is, you know, the fact that sometimes we as human beings, we hold ourselves back. Pero why in the hell? Why, you know, it's like we're you know, we're so deserving, right? Or so, you know, we hear, okay, you deserve all the great things in the world, and this world is so fruitful and beautiful. But why? But the first ones to beat us down is people themselves, right? So what would you say to that person that they feel like they're not good enough? They feel like, you know, it's not time.
I have the perfect response to that. Whose opinion of you did you take as a truth? Whose opinion of you have you accepted as a fact? Because that's not your opinion of yourself. Somebody put that in your mind.
Somebody put
and somebody definitely did. Whether you remember it or not, that person who told you whatever it is that you know, that one kid when you were in kindergarten was like, you're fat. That's it. And you may be overweight, but that doesn't define who you are. You know what I mean? You like to eat. I'm a fat person. I love food. Okay? I love food. And I've been struggling with weight my whole life. Mindfulness has made it not so much of a struggle. Now I'm in control of it, and I'm moving at my own pace. But the point is, those thoughts and negative beliefs are that theta state, that subconscious programming I was talking about from the first 7 years of your life. And so you may not even know where it came from. You know, some of us were raised in households with parents who thought that they were going to marry a man because they had you, and the reality is that was their mindset, and now they got stuck with you, and so they've been a horrible parent your whole life. You know, this is just a few people, but we always think of mom and dad as like perfect parents, right? But there are some people whose moms are abusive and are abusive, or fathers, or both. parents who, for whatever reason, aren't mentally right or were programmed to think that domestic violence is a normal thing, and they pass that down to you. So now you grow up with no support, no love, no nurturing, right? No warmth. And you have to figure out, and then the world isn't so much warmer because there's a bunch of other people out there with those other negative voices, right?
Yep.
But it's a societal standard. And one more thing is the reason we are taught that it is selfish to take care of ourselves. We are taught that it is honorable and, you know, distinguishable of you to be there for others and to sacrifice self in the name of the greater good for others, right? And that is the farthest thing from the truth. Yes, it is good to help others. I'm not saying no. That should be your end goal. But you are no good to anybody else if you are damaged goods yourself, baby. You have to do the work and love yourself first. And
Amen.
then you can love other people. Until then, you are externalizing your love source, which means you're always going to be dependent on either a substance or a person in order for you to feel the love that you could give yourself without any of that.
Preach, baby, preach. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all are getting a master class. Let me tell you. Woo, mira, so you're obviously using your life to inspire others, right? And so I know you kind of, you know, you touched on your first book and you talked about, you know, what you're doing with Leche. Is there anything else that we missed in between there?
No,
You said you have the
really.
website.
Yeah, I have lecheweare.com, right? I talked about doing my substance abuse counseling. I talked about La Leche del Alte, which was my photography entity. Okay. I still shoot, but I have like few clients that shoot me here and there for private events, that have me shoot them for private events. My main focus now is really, you know, the mindfulness meditation practice, and more recently, those mindfulness hikes. I've collaborated with an organization called Outer There. Shout out to Al Barrios and Anna. You should definitely get them on Community Spotlight. Outer There is dope. So
Outer There?
if you didn't know, now you know, yes, outerthere.com. So what they are is an adventure website. And it's kind of like excursions, if you will, right? But not so excursionist, like, you know, not so touristish. It's for locals who want something to do on the weekends. And he has activities every single weekend. His calendars for months, everything from kayaking to skydiving to rock climbing to caving to, you know, hiking, mindfulness, and doing guided meditation with me. And so we've been doing mindfulness meditation hikes together. Me and Leche, we are in collaboration with Outer There, where we go to random hiking locations that they choose. And we walk for a few miles, we climb mountains, whatever. We get up to the top. I guide folks through a guided meditation. We bond, we go to eat, and then, you know, we finish out the hike. But it's been an experience. Each hike has been unique. It's been awesome. All of the hikes have sold out so far. The next one is 9/5. So we did 4 so far. All 4 sold out. The next one is going to be September 5th. And tickets are limited because of COVID-19. We're only allowing up to 15 people to come. So if you want to come with us on the next mindfulness hike, check out outerthere.com to book and secure your ticket. I would love to meditate with you. It's always an honor to meet new, bright souls seeking the light.
Yes. And I love it. I definitely, you know, I have to promise myself that I'm going to make the time to definitely, you know, check it out, because I mean, honestly, you know, Eddie, these are things that even me myself, right, as like, you know, the compliments you gave me earlier, but sometimes, you know, you dwell on the distractions. I don't have time today because of this. I get caught up in this. I get caught up in that. But you got to make time, because these things are good for your soul. These things are good for your self-care, for self-love, you know. And
if it's coming up as an idea, it's for you. Trust the voice of the mind. Trust the push that your subconscious is giving you. Jomil, you haven't done a community spotlight. It's time. And I know what that's like. You know, this, I doing the podcast, I did, Random Talks podcast was something that I did with Yasmin Cáceres. I love her to death. She was my co-host. And it was something like a community spotlight. We were doing Random Talks. I figure I network with tons of people in the work that I do with all the speaks. I meet people in all different facets. And so to tie that together, when I meet amazing people like you, like if we keep doing Random Talks podcast, I want to interview you so that we could talk about community spotlight. Because I
Awesome.
like to meet people like you. I wanted to give people a voice who might not have one otherwise. Like they
Yeah,
have an amplified voice, but
agreed.
the media wouldn't cover that. You know what I'm
Yep,
saying? So we need this in the community. We
I
need more
agree.
random talks. We need more community spotlights.
I agree. And I wholeheartedly believe, it really takes, just like getting over the hump and the anxiety and just saying, just do it because, maybe our community doesn't see themselves being able to do this, right? You know what I mean? And it takes like you yourself, because I feel that you are a platform within yourself.
Yeah.
Everything that you're doing, look, I mean, you've described so many tools, right? And I hope that people took away all these tools that Eddie has mentioned. You laid it out in your book. You know what I mean? And that's like a memoir about your life, but you're laying it out, and those are like lessons there. You've got your mindfulness group with Leche. You've got the hikes. You've got these coaching sessions that you do. Did you talk about how do you do the
So,
coaching?
so if you're interested in coaching, you can go to eddiepabon.com and click the contact button. We can talk about it. I don't have a whole coaching website put up yet, because I'm really focused on Leche We Are right now. But I have coached a few people, and I'm glad you mentioned this. You're the fucking bomb.com. Thank you. So shout out to Jalissa Edwards. She's a master licensed psychotherapist, and she and I are partnering up to do mind reset-ish sort of programming for individuals who are sick and tired of being sick and tired, who want to live optimally, who want to come out of this program launching whatever they want to launch or living the life that they're seeking to live. So yeah, mindfulness coaching is definitely an option. I've had people reach out to me. I teach them how to meditate. I don't like to create dependence.
Mhm.
So I want to be clear. I want people who are seeking to be independent, who want the tools. I am simply information and a guide. I am not someone to seek out for long-term care.
Gotcha.
And so I filter out individuals. I've been working with individuals on a personal level, and I want to make sure that I divvy the time for them. And so I haven't really scaled it to like, I want to announce it to the world and put it on a website and really add it, you know what I mean? Until I can do that. The next step to this though is that mind reset-ish program. It's Happiness from Within is what we're calling it. And it's a 4-part every 2-week series for individuals. Julissa and I are working on it now, and we're looking at launching it sometime in October. So stay tuned for that, because that's going to be the master class that I'm sort of culminating everything into and delivering to groups of people at a time.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you know what? I'm going to take it there because I know there's somebody out there that needs to hear it. You also do the CASAC.
Substance abuse counseling, yes.
Yeah. And so for anybody that maybe, that's their struggle. What sort of advice can you maybe, I mean, I know we don't have that much time, but, it's a whole course, but, what kind of advice can you give that person?
So substance abuse is a maladaptive coping behavior, meaning you have coped with whatever the originating issue is by taking this substance, right? So anytime anybody, first off, if you need substance abuse services, you can either get in contact with me. I will provide you with some sort of resource, information to an organization, and maybe even a referral to the organization that I contract with independently. But there's plenty of resources online, and I can direct you to that. But this is actually something that I wanted to touch. I know we don't have much more time, but I wanted to touch this. And it was a part of that, like, why do we think the way that we think? And what do you say to individuals who don't love themselves, right? Because that's really the problem, the lack of self-love. Thinking about being a gay man, right? That whole subconscious programming. From the very beginning of life, you were taught that this is something that's not acceptable. True or false?
True.
And so from the very beginning of life, there was inner conflict with the external world and your internal world. And so society impressed upon us to question ourselves, to not be comfortable with who we are. I say, pull out your rainbow, scream, I'm fucking gay, live your life, suck whatever dick you want to suck, eat whatever pussy you want to eat, do whatever you want to do, and don't be shameful about it. Who you are is who you are, and that is beautiful, okay? Diamonds are expensive because they're rare, And so you're even more expensive, baby, because you're only one of a kind. One of a kind. That's priceless.
I
Okay?
love it. I love it. I just have to give you a whistle.
Yes.
Yes, scream at the top of your lungs and love yourself for who
Yes.
you are. And I love your candidness, and because it's the truth. It's just like, yo, if you trying to be happy and you trying to love who you're gonna love, you have to be unapologetic.
Absolutely.
Unapologetic. And that's the only way that also, it's about the visibility, and it's about, us sharing our stories so that other people can see, yo, that person's unapologetic, and it does get better, and it will get better.
And you have to practice what you preach. So I do this pointing thing, and I don't really do this too often, but I can do it because the 3 pointing back at me, I don't have to worry about. You can be who you are, but you have to live and let live. And so you can celebrate your uniqueness, but when somebody else is celebrating their uniqueness, don't judge them. Don't, oh, look at that. A lot of people, and we do it ourselves, even in the community as gays. Oh, look at the tranny passing by or whatever, the shade that we sort of like, it's subliminal shade. And we have to practice what we preach. Instead of, oh, look at the tranny. Yes, look at that human living their life, not giving a fuck about what people think and owning who they are.
Yep.
That's something to be proud of, and that's something to try to become yourself. It's not something to hate on, because you don't want people to do that to you. And everything is karmic, baby. And I'm going to shut up now.
No, I want you to keep on going. Mira, muchacho.
3 minutes.
Honestly, yo, there's so many things that I think we obviously talked about today that can obviously be just carved out and be their own thing, right? You know what I mean? I mean, there's so many different entities that you just mentioned about everything that you're doing. But like I said earlier, you are definitely an inspiration to us all. And thank you for giving us a piece of yourself every single day, because that's...
Igualmente, thank you, because your posts are hilarious. You're a comedian. You missed. I'm waiting for somebody to pick you up. She ready.
I love it. Well, thank you. So Mira, how can people find you? What are all the different avenues that they can find you?
You can follow me on Facebook, obviously through here. You see Eddie Pabon. You can go to eddiepabon.com. This is available on eddiepabon.com. I also have a bookmark on there, which is awesome and unique to the book. But you can go to eddiepabon.com if you want a signed copy. It's also available on Amazon. If you're an Amazoner and you want to wait, you want it overnight, you could do that. I can't do that. I'm not Amazon. But you can also follow me on Instagram. Have honor, have faith. It's like my tattoos here. Have honor, have faith. And the rest of my Instagrams are in the bio there. And that's about it. Instagram, Facebook, eddiepabon.com, and lecheweare.com. I saw somebody joined while we were here. Robert, Arno, welcome to the Leche family. I hope to see Jomil, you join. And remember, folks, when you join lecheweare.com, you're automatically entered into the giveaway every month. So you might just get a pop-up next month, a few months down the line. You want a free merch item. Congratulations.
Eddie, can you, in the comments, can you put a lot of these different websites? Is that okay? Doesn't have to be right now, but yeah. So that people can find out, they can click. Definitely, if you all were watching this tonight, share it. This is great information, but this is more than just information. This is like life lessons. And that's honestly what the Community Spotlight is all about. It's about us sharing our stories so that we can all live in a better world. And I think that that's really what we're trying to do at the end of the day. And no time more in history than now. And it's moments like this and conversations like these that make the world a better place. And I hope that people really got something out of this tonight. And Eddie, yo, I love you. I pray for you. Thank you so much. Thank you for everything that you are. Thank you,
Igual. Like, listen, I'll leave
many
you
blessings.
I leave you with what I leave everyone with, which is my sort of thing. And based on what you just said to me, first off, namaste. Know that the divine light in me recognizes, respects, and acknowledges the divine light in you. And know that you have limitless light, love, and potentiality, baby. Everything else is bullshit. So chase the dreams and everything else will flow.
Oh, she ready. All right, y'all. And on that note, we will end this. Thank you for joining, and to the next Community Spotlight.
Yes.
All right.